Are there any stories and events which kind of sadden you when you read them or learn about them?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing for players of yesteryear, shall we say, is that it wasn't a full time job, and it wasn't the aftercare maybe for when you left football wasn't present. So in the Tommy Lawrence book, he was promised a testimonial, which was massive for players in those days because for one of his teammates, it paid for his house, paid it off. He had a house for the rest of his life. He was sorted. Tommy Lawrence didn't get one, and I think it was within 5 years of retiring, he was homeless and lost his family. So there's that aftercare isn't there, because life and football was such a big drinking culture at that time as well. They're used to being the bloke in the pub who can buy everyone a pint, and then suddenly they're not. The wage just stops. If you're not a manager, and the punditry wasn't as widely spread, then of course without the TV and stuff. So if you're not involved in the game, you've immediately got to go and find a job. But you can imagine that buzz that you must get playing 2 or 3 times a week in front of nearly 100,000 people, to then just completely lose that buzz, have no aftercare. I think that just, and then you wonder why loads of them became alcoholics, loads of them were overweight, loads of them whatever, for that, you have to be very driven in your mentality to just divert it to something else. I think it's very easy just to then go, what do I do now? I'm stuck. I'm only in my early 30s. My career's over, and I've got to find a new career. And we know what jobs are like anyway. Where you want to have experience in that role. You've got no experience. Your experience is just playing football, and it must have been so hard for all them to go on and just have a normal life afterwards.
I had a mentor in my last gym before I moved down to where I was, and he said to me, he actually knows an ex-footballer, but because I think they played something like Division 1, Division 2, or I forget the exact leagues, he says, but he plays in the lower leagues, and because of that, he's not got the same pension as one of the Premier League people. Now, he's not in the stage that you described of the footballers, to use your words, of yesteryear, where they're alcoholics, they're homeless, they were once the people who would buy everyone drinks, and all of a sudden they can't do that anymore. But what I was told was, this guy's had to go and get a job because the pension and his equivalent of aftercare compared to the bigger leagues is, well, pittance, really.
Yeah, but that doesn't surprise me. And the only counter argument might be is that, if you're in the lower leagues or whatever, then you're probably going to realise earlier that the wage you're on, when you're going to have to go and do something. It's not like you can be saving millions of pounds and investing it in other stuff, whatever. I think even Jamie Carragher, who's working for Sky Sports now, I heard an interview with him once, and when he retired, he realised he had like 25 skyboxes he was paying for. He had like 15 cars and leases he was paying for all his family and stuff like that. And he just realised that I don't actually have the money to pay for all this now. And he had to have a few awkward conversations. I think, soon after he worked for Sky Sports, and I'm sure he's more than capable to pay for all those skyboxes. Probably got them all for free now anyway. But I think, if you think of someone at the very top of his game who's won the Champions League, played for so many years for a massive club, if they're feeling the pinch, then the people lower down the leagues are certainly going to feel it. But it's just about future planning. And, the PFA do a lot of stuff now where they try and look after people, and that's all come because of those people before. And Dixie Dean's the biggest legend that Everton ever had, and they had to give him a testimonial many years after he retired because he was struggling so much. He was working for Little Woods just on the front of house, welcoming people in the store, and he had a tough time after his career ended. So, if the biggest players are thinking like that, then certainly those in the lower leagues will feel the same, if not worse.
Yeah, I actually used to, when I was at school, work with a teacher, and he said, he used to play football. It wasn't even in the division leagues; it was in the leagues below the division leagues, and basically everyone. It was the kind of league where you played the football, but you also had a job, because that was not going to even cover you, even forget aftercare.
Yeah, that's very normal. Yeah, players in those days are all part time. That's when you have the dream FA Cup ties where it's the smallest team wins the biggest, and they're playing against the likes Richard and a plumber and a candlestick maker or whatever. And that's the dream of football, is that you can work your way up from there. But yeah, a lot of the times the money certainly isn't there if you're not in the top 92 clubs.